Beneath the endless white silence of Alaska's frozen wilderness, something ancient may be sleeping. In the early 1990s, a strange discovery rippled through classified military channels. A structure buried deep beneath the mountains, larger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. The signals came from the Earth itself, detected by satellites meant to study the aftershocks of a distant nuclear test. What they revealed was not natural, it was geometric, deliberate, and then the data disappeared. Since then, whispers have circled through soldiers, scientists, and locals, of a power source that hums beneath the ice, and a secret the government refuses to name. Tonight, as you drift into sleep, we travel north, into the land of eternal cold, where legends meet silence, and a dark pyramid waits beneath the snow. It began as many modern mysteries do, with a signal, faint, distorted, and impossible to explain. In May of 1992, scientists monitoring seismic activity in China detected strange readings from thousands of miles away, deep under the Alaskan wilderness. They believed it was an aftershock from an underground nuclear test conducted days earlier. But as the data came in, something didn't fit. The readings showed a consistent pattern, not chaotic like an earthquake, not explosive like a detonation. Instead, they pulsed in rhythm like something engineered. When American satellites analyzed the area, they detected a formation, massive, symmetrical, and unmistakably geometric, hidden beneath miles of ice and rock. Whatever it was bigger than the Great Pyramid of Giza. And then, without warning, the data vanished. Reports were sealed. The scientists were told to stop asking questions. Yet the rumors had already begun to spread. Alaska has always been a land of secrecy. During the Cold War, it was America's frozen shield, home to radar stations, military outposts, and underground installations. But amid these operations, locals began noticing something strange. Military convoys moved toward the remote mountain ranges near Mount Denali, and helicopters flew over areas long marked restricted. Some claimed that a new kind of radar facility was being built. Others whispered of something being unearthed, an ancient structure older than any known civilization. The U.S. military had long used the Alaskan wilderness to hide its secrets. But this one local said was different. Those who lived near the region began reporting deep, low vibrations in the earth, a hum that seemed to come from below the mountains themselves. The government offered no explanations. And the few who asked too many questions soon found the silence around them growing heavier. In the mid-1990s, whispers turned into testimony. A retired military engineer, interviewed off-record, claimed that a joint American-Chinese research team had discovered a massive underground pyramid, one with precise geometric angles and metallic composition unlike any natural formation. He described tunnels branching out like veins, pulsing with residual electromagnetic energy. According to him, data collected during the seismic event showed energy signatures consistent with advanced technology, or something that mimicked it perfectly. He called it the Black Pyramid. The story was quickly dismissed as myth. No official documents existed, no coordinates were confirmed. But for those who had seen the satellite data, the shape was undeniable. It wasn't a mountain. It wasn't a glitch. It was something built. And beneath the frozen crust of Alaska, it waited, silent, immense, and unseen. If the Black Pyramid truly exists, it defies more than just history, it defies logic. Human civilizations capable of such precision architecture are not supposed to have existed in North America that far back. Yet ancient legends from the region speak of sky gods descending upon mountains of power, teaching man the secrets of the stars. In certain Alaskan native tales, the earth hums when the sky gods return. Modern scientists would call it coincidence. But the geometry of the alleged pyramid, perfect angles aligned with magnetic north, mirrors the same mathematical principles used in Egypt, Mesoamerica, and China. Was it possible that an ancient, advanced civilization had once reached the far north? Or could the pyramid be something else entirely, a forgotten experiment from a time when nations raced not only for space, but for the mysteries buried deep within the earth? For centuries, Alaska has been seen as a land of silence, vast, untouched, and unknowable. But beneath its frozen stillness, strange whispers have long echoed, tales of humming mountains, lights beneath the snow, and an unseen power buried deep within the earth. In the early 2000s, when most had dismissed the legend of the Black Pyramid as nothing more than folklore, a new kind of research brought the region back into the spotlight. It was called HARP, the High Frequency Active Auroral Research Program. Officially, it was a scientific project designed to study the ionosphere, the upper layer of Earth's atmosphere that reflects radio waves. The United States government claimed it was simply researching communications, weather, and atmospheric behavior. But to many, HAARP represented something far stranger. Its location, deep in the Alaskan wilderness near Gakona, seemed too perfect. Surrounded by restricted airspace, heavily monitored and eerily isolated, it became a magnet for theories. The installation's massive antenna arrays could emit frequencies strong enough to alter the ionosphere itself, a capability that, some argued, might resonate with energies far below the surface. That was when the whispers began again. Locals living near the region spoke of a low, constant hum, a vibration that seemed to come not from the air but from the ground. Some described it as a faint mechanical sound, others as a deep tone that could be felt rather than heard. Even when HAARP scientists dismissed these claims as imagination, the reports kept coming. A retired pilot once claimed that while flying near the site during a storm, his instruments flickered and failed for several seconds. Compasses spun erratically. The radio hissed with static. Then, as quickly as it began, everything returned to normal. The flight path was clear, the weather routine, but the pilot swore he saw something strange through the blizzard, a faint, triangular silhouette glowing beneath the ice below. He never reported it officially. He simply said, "There's something down there that doesn't want to be seen." The story spread quietly, among locals, hunters, and a few curious researchers who refused to let the legend die. They started connecting the dots between HAARP's experiments and the rumors of the buried pyramid. Some believed HAARP wasn't studying the sky at all, but using frequencies to activate something hidden beneath Alaska's crust. The idea was wild, almost cinematic, and yet it wouldn't go away. In certain geological studies, minor electromagnetic anomalies were recorded in the same general area as the alleged pyramid. Most scientists ignored them as natural variations, but a few noted how the energy spikes appeared rhythmic, structured, almost intentional. Meanwhile, indigenous elders spoke of mountains that sing to the sky. Ancient oral traditions from the Denali and other Alaskan tribes mention sacred places where the earth speaks, areas considered too powerful to approach. To them, such places were not to be disturbed, for they belonged to the spirits of the sky and the deep earth. It's a haunting coincidence that these sacred zones align with modern reports of magnetic and seismic anomalies. What if the Black Pyramid wasn't merely an ancient structure, but a kind of resonant engine? Something that once harnessed energy from the planet itself, long before modern humans discovered electricity? Even in modern times, scientists continue to be puzzled by the sheer power of Earth's magnetic fields. The poles shift, auroras dance, and lightning storms in the ionosphere release bursts of radiation strong enough to disrupt satellites. Perhaps, in some forgotten age, there were people, or beings, who learned to control that energy. The more one looks, the more curious details emerge. Satellite images of certain Alaskan mountain regions have been mysteriously blurred in public databases. Maps change slightly over the years, with terrain lines adjusted or shaded differently, as though something beneath the ice must remain hidden. When questioned, government officials simply state that data corrections are common in remote topography. But for those who followed the legend, it sounds familiar, the same silence that followed the first reports of the pyramid decades ago. Then came a moment that reignited everything. In 2012, HAARP was temporarily shut down for maintenance. During that period, several independent researchers used amateur radio equipment to scan the same frequencies HAARP had once used. One group claimed to detect faint repeating signals, deep, rhythmic pulses emanating from beneath the ground, not the sky. The recordings were low, slow, almost like a heartbeat echoing through static. They nicknamed it the sleeping signal. No official explanation was given, and the data was largely ignored. But for believers, it was the closest thing to proof, a trace of something massive and ancient still stirring beneath Alaska's frozen skin. Even after HAARP's control was transferred to civilian hands, the mystery continued. Every few years, new rumors appear. A geologist claiming to have seen unnatural rock patterns on seismic charts. A hiker describing a faint blue light on the horizon. A pilot reporting his compass spinning wildly near Denali. None of it ever reaches the news, it's too fragmented, too unbelievable. But among those who still search for truth, the whispers have never faded. In the quiet of the northern night, where the wind carries the hiss of the aurora and the snow absorbs every sound, some say the ground still hums. Not constantly, not loudly, just enough that if you stand still and listen long enough you can feel it under your feet. Is it the Earth's natural resonance? The echo of distant machinery? Or something older than both humanity and memory itself? No one knows. And perhaps no one ever will. Because Alaska does not easily give up her secrets. She keeps them frozen beneath the endless ice, waiting for those who can listen, truly listen, to what the Earth is trying to say. And maybe, just maybe, if the Black Pyramid exists, it isn't a relic of the past at all, but a part of the planet, alive, humming softly, waiting to be awakened again. In the years following the supposed discovery of the Black Pyramid, theories began to spread quietly, not in newspapers or broadcasts, but in late-night conversations, encrypted forums, and obscure research circles. What was this object beneath Alaska's frozen crust? Why had the story disappeared so completely after one brief mention? Some believed the pyramid was not ancient at all, but a product of Cold War experimentation. According to one theory, the U.S. government may have constructed a massive underground energy array designed to harness or redirect Earth's electromagnetic field. The shape, they argued, was not symbolic but functional, a geometric amplifier built to focus energy. Its silence, they said, was the result of secrecy, not mystery. Others went much further. They connected the Black Pyramid to legends far older than America itself. They spoke of lost civilizations, Lemuria, Atlantis, or ancient visitors who understood frequencies and vibration long before modern science. Some claimed that pyramids across the world, from Egypt to Mesoamerica, were part of a single global network. The Alaskan pyramid, hidden and dormant, was the missing link. A node of power buried beneath ice, humming quietly beneath the modern world. Then there were the believers in the resonance theory. They claimed the structure was alive in a sense, built to draw energy from the planet itself, pulsing at the same frequency as the Earth's natural heartbeat, the Schumann resonance. To them, the pyramid was not a weapon or relic but an engine, a sleeping force that could one day awaken. Skeptics countered that the entire story was born from misread radar data and urban legend. A Cold War mapping error, they said, twisted by decades of speculation. Yet even they could not explain the reports of strange power fluctuations in nearby regions, or the magnetic anomalies pilots occasionally described. Amid the theories, one pattern remained constant: silence. Officials refused to comment, records vanished, and scientists who spoke publicly about the supposed anomaly quickly retracted their statements. A few even claimed to have been warned to stop asking questions. And so, the Black Pyramid became both myth and memory, something known yet never proven. Power, mystery, and silence woven together like ice, rock, and shadow. Beneath the endless white silence of Alaska lies a story no map dares to show. For decades, the region between Mount McKinley and the frozen interior has been marked by more than snowstorms and seismic lines. It's been marked by absence. An absence of records, of answers, of truth. Those who have studied the legend of the Black Pyramid know that the mystery doesn't end with discovery, it deepens with what followed. After the alleged detection of the structure, researchers reported strange data disruptions. Satellite feeds went blank, communication relays froze, and files were wiped from secured systems. At first, these glitches seemed like routine technical failures. But then the same thing happened again. And again. Each time, the anomaly was traced back to a radius near Denali, as if something there resisted being seen. Whispers began to circulate among technicians and military analysts, not in official channels but in late-night emails and off-record phone calls. One geologist, speaking anonymously years later, recalled how his team's ground-penetrating radar went blind when directed toward a specific coordinate. Another mentioned that every magnetic instrument on site began to oscillate wildly, as though caught between invisible poles. The data was later removed from all archives. No explanation, he said. Just gone. Some say this was coincidence. Others a cover-up. But either way, the silence only grew thicker. By the early 2000s, the legend of the Black Pyramid had drifted to the edges of the internet. A few researchers tried to trace its roots through declassified Cold War archives, but they found missing folders, blank pages, and redacted paragraphs. It was as if an entire subject had been systematically erased. The files that did survive hinted at joint U.S. Chinese geological operations conducted under the pretext of seismic mapping. These were marked energy resonance studies, though no official record of such a project exists in either nation's scientific logs. And yet, there were traces, faint digital fingerprints of a story that once existed. Buried web pages cached in forgotten servers, fragments of scanned documents with half-visible stamps. The names of scientists who seemed to vanish from research directories. It was like trying to assemble a puzzle that someone had deliberately scattered across time. Those who investigated further noticed something else. A pattern of unusual energy readings recorded across the Alaskan interior. Remote sensors had picked up deep, rhythmic pulses, unlike anything generated by weather or seismic activity. These pulses followed a strange frequency, one that matched almost perfectly the Earth's own natural resonance. Some compared it to the heartbeat of the planet. Others whispered that it was the sound of something stirring beneath the ice. But when independent teams attempted to study these vibrations, permissions were quietly denied. Military zones expanded. Civilian aircraft were restricted from flying over certain coordinates. And those who once spoke publicly about the phenomenon began retracting their statements. A climatologist who had published early research on the anomaly later claimed his work was misinterpreted, though the original papers had already disappeared from the university database. The deeper investigators dug, the stranger it became. Satellite images of the region showed irregular topography that didn't match geological expectations, faint angular ridges beneath the surface snow. When enthusiasts tried to download those images from mapping servers, the files appeared corrupted. Some versions showed digital smudges where the terrain should be clear. Theories began to form, theories that merged science and myth. Some believed the pyramid wasn't a man-made construct at all, but an ancient structure far older than humanity, buried deliberately to contain something within it. Others argued it was a machine still operational, its energy field distorting modern instruments and digital data alike. There were even whispers that the U.S. military had discovered the truth decades ago and chosen to suppress it, not out of fear of panic, but because the pyramid represented a power too vast to understand. In the small Alaskan towns near Denali, old residents spoke quietly of nights when the ground hummed like a deep metallic bell. Dogs would refuse to go outside. Compasses would spin. And sometimes, the northern lights would appear when no solar activity was recorded. For them, the mystery wasn't a story, it was a presence. Silent. Watching. Enduring. The name Black Pyramid became a symbol for what lies beyond the edge of knowledge. To scientists, it was an unsolved anomaly. To believers, it was evidence of an ancient power. To skeptics, it was a parable of how myths evolve from data gaps and imagination. But for those who felt the silence around it, the vanishing data, the forbidden coordinates, the warnings not to ask, it became something more. A quiet reminder that not everything buried by ice is truly asleep. Even today, when satellites can see through storms and algorithms can trace buried ruins, the region around Denali remains a blank spot in the data. Instruments still flicker there. Magnetic fields still shift unpredictably. And every few years, a new report emerges, a faint pulse recorded by distant sensors or a pilot who sees something impossible beneath the snow. The world moves on, but Alaska keeps its secrets. Beneath layers of frost and time, the Black Pyramid waits, silent, unseen, and perhaps still alive in ways no one yet understands. For every answer uncovered, another question freezes beneath the surface, whispering through the cold. Some truths are buried not to be forgotten, but because they were never meant to be found. And so, the legend endures. In the stillness of Alaska's night, where auroras dance across endless skies, something vast sleeps beneath the ground. No explorer has found it. No scientist has proven it. Yet the whispers remain, like echoes frozen in time. Perhaps the truth lies waiting, a monument of forgotten hands, or a relic of something not quite human. As the wind sweeps over mountains and the earth hums its quiet song, one can almost feel the presence of something ancient, aware, and patient. A secret not lost, merely asleep. And as you drift toward your own sleep tonight, remember, some mysteries do not fade with time. They simply wait, beneath the ice, for someone brave enough to listen.